This is Elliot Maris, the editor of Professional Tool and Equipment News, reporting from the Vehicle Service Pro studio. This past August, Massachusetts became the first state to have a right to repair law. A lot has been written about this law, and our readers have expressed a lot of different opinions. The law is potentially one of the most important pieces of legislation for the automotive aftermarket. At the same time, the shop owners are not of one mind on this law, which requires original equipment manufacturers to make their repair information accessible to the aftermarket shops. Many shop owners support the legislation, but some oppose it, thinking it will add cost to the industry and yield few benefits. Still others support the legislation, but don't think it'll make a big difference in their futures. So in the interest of educating the aftermarket, we decided to speak with Aaron Lowe, Vice President of Government Affairs for the Automotive Aftermarket Industry Association. Aaron, on the surface, the right to repair law means repair shops should have access to the same information as OE dealerships. But the law really has greater implications than this, does it not?
Yes, right to repair is more than just making sure that the independent has the same information and tools that the new car dealer has. Right to repair is actually going to provide a new way for independents to obtain the most updated information and tools without having to purchase expensive proprietary tools from the vehicle manufacturer.
So the law does have significant implications beyond just access to the same information for independent shops. I understand there is a bill that passed the legislature and a referendum that was voted on by the public. Could you explain the current status of the legislation in Massachusetts?
Right to repair was passed by the state legislature at the end of July based on an agreement made with the manufacturers by the independent aftermarket. However, because it was passed in late July, we missed a deadline for withdrawing the signatures for referendum. So actually a referendum went through for voters in early November, and it was voted very strongly in favor by an 85 to 15% majority, which is huge. Probably the largest in Massachusetts history, if not in the nation. Shows the strong support that right to repair and the independent aftermarket has with the public.
Many shop owners and technicians are frustrated. They need to invest a lot of money in scan tools to service different makes of cars. Does the right to repair law have any impact on the cost and capabilities of scan tools available to shops?
One of the goals of right to repair was not just to make information available, but to attack some of the high costs that independent shops experience in trying to diagnose and repair today's very highly technical vehicles. These costs go into the tens of thousands. So when we worked on right to repair, we added a requirement that all the information and tools, the software, all be maintained by the manufacturer in the cloud. So an independent shop using a generic PC can go to the cloud, download the tools, the software that they need to repair the car that's in the shop right now, and then be able to, at a subscription cost of daily, for a daily cost, a monthly or yearly, get that information, and then it goes back to the manufacturer when they're done with it. So it should save the independent shops a tremendous amount of money in having to buy the very expensive proprietary tools that they currently have to use if they want to work on certain makes and models of cars.
Once again, the implications go beyond mere access for independent shops. It affects ongoing costs. The Massachusetts right to repair law has a provision that says by 2018, OEMs have to establish websites or clouds that will contain the same information and software that dealers have access to as part of their proprietary tools. What is the penalty for OEMs that do not comply by 2018?
The penalty for a manufacturer not complying with the right to repair law in Massachusetts is that an independent shop or a car owner would be able to bring the manufacturer, into a lawsuit under the state's very strong consumer statute 93A. And this was made available or put together by the legislature to address just the kind of issues that we're talking about. It allows small businesses and consumers to go after large manufacturers at a very low cost, but it will permit the judge to allow treble damages and even class action lawsuits against the manufacturers that don't comply. Our hope is that most of the information disputes will be handled through through mediation or through the National Automobile Service Task Force, and that we won't have to go to legal action. But if they don't make the information available, having this legal action is a strong weapon in the arsenal of an independent shop or a coroner to make sure that they can get their car repaired where they want to get it repaired.
So there is an enforcement mechanism. That's certainly important since the law does have teeth. But I understand OEMs are working with the AAIA and other parties on a national law. Aaron, can you describe this initiative in more detail?
Right now, we think that manufacturers are looking to implement the Massachusetts model, the cloud technology, all over the country. We don't think they're going to put together one separate solution for Massachusetts and then a different solution for the rest of the country. We see them having only one solution for nationwide. But we're also working with the manufacturers in developing a nationwide agreement that would ensure that there's a nationwide requirement that all information be made available and tools be made available to independent shops. We've been meeting regularly with the manufacturers. Those negotiations have been very positive. We hope by this summer that those negotiations will be completed and that we'll have a national agreement. If not, of course, we'll go state by state to make sure that there are those requirements. But we're very positive at the moment, or very optimistic at the moment, that those negotiations will result in a national agreement.
Thank you, Aaron. So we can see the right to repair law is an important piece of legislation for the independent aftermarket. Write and let us know what you think. In the meantime, stay tuned to Vehicle Service Pros for updates.